Hey guys, it's Drina G here, and welcome back to Escape with Drina. Last week we talked about codependency, and this week we're still going to continue on codependency by talking about belonging to yourself. Before we get into the topic of what does it mean to belong to yourself, I want to remind you and revisit what does codependency mean. Codependency is a psychological condition which those who suffer from trauma or negligence or any past traumas, or whether CTPSD or PTSD, tend to seek approval from others, having weak boundaries within self, not having a strong sense of self, having low self-esteem, and many more, and many variations, which if you want more details, you can look at my video, the six reasons why you may be codependent, and figure out if that may be you. But we could definitely get into more topics over the time of what codependency look like and how it is and what behavior patterns it may be formed. Now, what is trauma? Let's talk about trauma. Trauma is whether CPTSD or PTSD. It's a series of unfortunate events that, whether periodically or a drop like a bomb, where it's like, oh my God, it's hard to cope with. Those who suffer from trauma can be things as negligence, things as war, military. There's so many different ways from PTSD, whether pregnancies, where it comes to postpartum, and furthermore. Now, I want to talk about what does it mean to belong to yourself. Now, when you hear the words belong, what do you think? You think I own it, right? Exactly. The word belong is kind of like owning yourself, owning property almost, right? Owning something that is yours, you could call yours. When I say belong to yourself, that means you own you. Don't let others own you. You need to own it. The word own it means be in love with yourself. Now, to get into being in love with yourself, I already crossed paths where I explained to you how solitude is very important into self-evolution. To get to own yourself, you have to know yourself. And the only way to know yourself is to have some time alone. Put more time into yourself and give your time to things that matter and embraces you, whether it's the sun, the beach, the stars, the moon, whatever activity it is, or anything that makes you smile and makes you happy and makes you feel whole. Give more of it to you. When you embrace yourself and you own yourself, whether it's the negative comments where it's like, I feel fat, or where there is negative comments like, I feel like a failure because I didn't make it as far. Whether it's negative comments or things or anxiety or depression, bipolar depression at that would hit you, you will have a stronger sense of self because you own it. You love yourself better than anybody else, so nothing can come in your way. So your mind, your heart is strong, and you overcome anything negative that can try to overpower it. Now, once you own it and you feel it, that's when happiness start building in. Now let's talk about these negative comments. When it's things like, I feel fat, or I'm depressed, or I'm not as far as I should have been in life. You need to start putting positive reframes into your life. When you talk about positive reframes, it's just kind of like looking in a better perspective of situations. Like, for example, if you say, I feel fat, I'm fat, I know I'm fat, or other things like, I don't accept my body, or body dysmorphia comments where it's like, I'm uncomfortable with my body. I don't want to wear this because I'm ashamed others will look at me a certain type of way. These are things that you need to kind of reframe and look at it in a different perspective so you can start thinking positive. And if it is things you want to lose, whether it's weight or things that doesn't serve you any purpose, it will feel better for you to own it first, have a positive outlook of it, and then go back into it. And I watch the things unfold. Own it. Don't sit there and just, I feel this, and be negative about yourself and continue to bring yourself towards that, whether it's overeating or depressing yourself. Own it. That's why a lot of women who are plus size models, they're confident and they own it, and it makes them more beautiful because they are happy on the inside. Whether or not how others see them or seek them, they're happy. They're happy because they owned it, and they see a positive perspective of how they see themselves, whether or not on how you see them. So they are modeling, they're doing things that make them happy in their skin. Think of it that way. Instead of saying, I feel like a failure, think about another positive reframe. Think about how far you come. You were then before, and now look at the steps you took. Remember that Rome wasn't built in a day. With that being said, just a little bit of 1% every day is a positive movement. It's a positive motion. So start giving yourself positive affirmations, positive reframes, and own yourself even more to know like, hey, I didn't fail. I just tried and I'm going to keep trying. And regardless of the fact, one day you're going to succeed. And you already succeeded by the steps that you did take. Putting yourself first is very, very important. When it comes to belonging to yourself, putting yourself first is number one thing. If you want to own yourself, you want to put yourself first because you value your time more to give to you rather than give it to those who don't value you. With that being said, times where you gave it to where it's partying or doing things that didn't make you feel comfortable, or even when you know you don't want to get out of bed to go hang out with your friends, but you said yes because you didn't want to let them down. So the sense of guilt that you felt because you didn't want to say no immediately, you're going to start doing the opposite of that because you're putting yourself first. You want to belong to yourself. You want to make sure that things that value you and are worth your time are the things you support more now. Not only putting yourself first, you remember my video of 6 signs of codependency? Yeah, it's a short clip I have on my page, not too far, just go to my YouTube channel. But in the 6 signs of codependency, you would literally be doing the complete opposite when you belong to yourself. That's mean saying sorry would not be a vocabulary anymore. You're gonna stop apologizing for things that is not your fault because it's not your fault. You're gonna start saying no when it's time to say no because you're setting stronger boundaries for yourself. And you're like, hey, if I don't like that, I don't want to go to it. I don't want to put my time into it because I value myself more and I value things that put me more at peace versus things that won't bring me any type of peace. Things that will bring you down. You know what they say? You lay with the dogs, you get the fleas, correct? If you're going to continue to surround yourself with things that don't power the energy that you need, you're a mirror of who you hang out with. So the moment you hang with others, you reflect who you really are. The people that don't benefit you or don't value you is only letting you know that you don't value yourself. So you got to start putting those and start setting up these, you got to start saying no and start setting up these strong boundaries because you need to know that I matter. And once you do that, you'll start learning how to belong to yourself and you'll start realizing I belong to me and no one else can decipher that and no one else can say, you know what? No, you got to put me first. You got to make me happy. No, I have to make me happy first. Then I could share my happiness with you. When you start setting boundaries, here comes what wash away is like the ocean. Fear of abandonment. I know that's a sense of relief to hear that because it's like, finally, I'm not scared for anyone to leave me because I'm so whole myself. I don't need anyone to make me feel whole. Right now, you may feel like you're half and you need to feel whole. And in order to feel whole, you need to know that you need to own it. You need to prioritize yourself. You need to set stronger boundaries. Now, a lot of people suffer from abandonment issues because of being codependent. They want people to need them. They want to be that hero of someone's life because they don't want to not be needed. Because once again, like I mentioned in codependency in my previous video, the inner child was not needed. There was at a point that you suffered from negligence in any type of way, whether your parents could be there or not. And it's like, I'm neglected, I'm not heard. It comes into your adult life where you fear that if someone leaves you, it will hurt you and it would be a half of you that just disappeared. You need to put yourself first so that you're able to notice that you matter more. And not only that you matter more, you don't need someone else to make you feel whole. You are whole. You're whole yourself. And that's where a stronger sense of self comes in. Attachment issues is something that people with codependency face, where it feels like you are hinged onto someone, whether they're treating you like, honestly, complete crap, or they're putting you through serious trials of manipulation and tribulations where it makes you feel like uncomfortable and unwanted. But you still stay because either one, you don't want to be alone, you don't want to feel abandoned, or two, you feel like you need to continue doing the things you do because it will be a sense of saving towards the end and where they could change, where they could kind of see life the way you see it. But unfortunately, A person who manipulates you or a person who convinces you that you're not whole is a person who sees you the way you don't see yourself. And what do I mean by that? I mean, as in, like, they know you're insecure. They know you have low self-esteem. They know you have weak boundaries. They know that it's hard for you to say no. They know that they could take advantage of your weak boundaries and put themselves on a pedestal where you don't matter anymore. And that's what they like, because they want to be praised. And that's what a codependent person faces. They constantly surround themselves with this type of people because you're a complete reflection of who you surround yourself with. So the moment that you don't know how to detach, or you're attached to someone that doesn't serve you no purpose of making you feel whole and making you feel at one with positive affirmations and positive reframes towards yourself, that's just that is just your spirit and your mind letting you know that, hey, I'm surrounding myself with a reflection of me. And that's not a good feeling. So once it's time to start healing, you're going to start realizing that those type of energies, those type of spirits, those type of feelings, those type of things that were negating you to negative thoughts, negative thoughts, depression, anxiety, all those suicidal thoughts, all those negativities that were surrounding you, those bubbles start to go away. The cloud disappears away because you're now starting to tell yourself, I belong to me and I matter to me. And you start to put yourself first. We would talk more about attachment issues and why it's incredibly important to getting rid of or balancing out so you can actually move forward from being codependent. So now, when you start detaching from things that don't no longer serve you any purpose, that means you start opening doors for healthier communities. Surrounding yourself with people that are more of a group of you and that love others, that love themselves as much, so that it's more of a reflection of you, so that when you're doing the things that are positive, it feels positive because you have positive
people around you and positive people moving you towards a better version of yourself.
My favorite community that I like to embrace is actually the LGBT community. I had a friend, well, I still have, one of my most confident, self-confident friends that I know, that owns their selves, that love their selves to the greatest, fullest potential. And the reason why I love her is because her being in the community that she's in, she praises her community that she's in. She is welcome because of how much she's able to do the changes that makes her completely happy. She doesn't care when she walks outside what others might think of her or what others may see her as. She only cares of how she sees herself. Those like that, whether it's the plus size community, LGBT community, Black community, whether it's whatever community you're in, whether what other religion that you feel like it's yours, what other things belong to you, what you feel like belongs to you, they will start to embrace you because you have finally detached from communities that haven't embraced you. And once that hits, you'll be at peace. And I promise it won't be that hard to smile anymore. You won't put a fake smile through those teeth. It will be a natural smile. You wake up in the morning and all those negative thoughts that used to direct you is no longer going to direct you or serve any type of purpose in your life. Learn how to belong to you.
Now, next week, we're still going to continue with codependency, but I did want to attack something that one of my feedback from my clients, and not only my clients, people from the comments, which I love comments. Please comment feedbacks. Please comment more things on things I could talk about, things that could make you happier to hear, or things that would make you smile, or things that need to be addressed. Please comment it, and I will definitely address it. But as far as the feedback that I was given in one of my last videos, and also from my clients, a lot of people want to know, how do you know when you're healed? So next week, we're going to talk about how do you know when you're healed. And thank you again for watching Escape with Drina, and Rise and Heal.